Vayeitzei, we'll learn a beautiful piece of Zera Shimshon. This week's parsha, Parshas Vayeitzei. Parshas Vayeitzei, we have Yaakov Avinu leaving Beersheba, going to Haran. And Haran, the Medrash says, the lashon of Haran, af of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because going to Haran is a remez to going to Galus. And it's myself a similar banim, but the Galus of Klal Yisrael, that they go out because of Haran af Hashem, leaving Eretz Yisrael, like Yaakov Avinu did, and going out to Galus, like to the house of Lavan, and where Yaakov Avinu has to leave Eretz Yisrael and go to Galus. So Yaakov Avinu is Yadua, he is the Av of the Galus, the father of Galus. And the pasuk begins, Vayeitzei Yaakov in Beersheva, Vayelech Chorana. Before that, there's a pasuk in last week's parasha that says that Vayikra Yitzchak El Yaakov, Yitzchak calls Yaakov, Vayevarech Oisei, and he gives him a blessing before he goes. And the Medrash says, Amar the Kizach, that the blessing that he gave was the blessing of Galus. Birchoi Birchas HaGalus. Because he knew that he is now going to set up the whole system of Galus for all the generations and be able to go through it in a way that will come out with tremendous atzlacha, and his children will also be able to go through their Galus and be able to use it in the proper way and become purified from their sins, from their tumah, and do tshuva, and become to high levels in emunah and bitachen, and then come to the geula. So this is really the Birchas HaGalus, and Yaakov Avinu is going out, and a lot of very tremendous hints are hinted about the Galus in this parsha. And it begins, and it continues on with Vayifka B'Mokoim, and he comes to this place, Vayolen Sham, and he sleeps there, Kiva Hashemish, because the sun has set. Vayikach Navne Amokim, he takes some of the stones of the place, Vayosem Real Shoisov, and he puts it under his head, around his head, Vayishka B'Mokoim Ahu, and he slept in that place. So Rashi HaKadosh asks a very big question. It says Vayolen Sham, Kiva Hashemish. It should have really written, should be written Vayovei Hashemesh Vayolen Sham. First you tell us as a narration, the sun set and he slept over there. Why does it say Vayolen Sham? And then tell us, oh, you know why? Kiva Hashemesh. Why doesn't it talk about Vayovei Hashemesh? The sun set and then he goes to sleep. So Rashi says the words Kiva Hashemesh Melamed Sheshoko Leichamo Pisaim. It teaches us that the sun set suddenly, not in its time, Kadeshi Yolen Sham, in order he should sleep there. By Yolen Sham, hey, what happened? Kiva Hashemesh, whoa! The Shemesh had set. And the Medrash says even a lashon like this, the two words of Kiva Hashemesh, Kiva of Hashemesh, right? You could read it as if it would be one word, Kiba, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu extinguished the light of the Shemesh, Kibui, like extinguishing a fire, and in order that Yaakov Avinu should go sleep there. And then he takes the stones of the place and puts them in Rashoysa v'yishkav v'mokay mahu. There's a muyudik remez that says in the Kliyakar, the Kavaldik piece, the Kliyakar says in the Dibra Maschel v'yesh oid remez nochain, and he brings that this shaloi boinos, the Rashi brings that it was not in its time when it set. How long was it? So the Medrash in Yalkut says, 2 hours before its time. And the question is, of course, why dafka 2 hours? So the Kliyakar says, here's a beautiful remez that the sun of Klal Yisrael will set, meaning the whole matzah of their light of Beis HaMikdash and prosperity that they'll have in Eretz Yisrael is going to set 2 years before the time that it was supposed to set. And that is, like Rashi says in Parshas Vayeschanan, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Mimahir the Galus. He hurried the Galus 2 years before this man. It should have been 852 years after they came into Eretz Yisrael, which would be the gematria of the word V'noishantem, as the pasuk says over there in Vayeschanan. But then if it would happen then with the Chatoim, it would have been terrible. It would have been Va'avadetem, Chal Yisrael would have been lost, would have been finished. However, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Memayr and brought it 2 years before that. It was 50 years, not 852 years. And it says, Vayishkoid Hashem al hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the bad earlier. He hurried the bad to come. Why? In order to save Klal Yisrael. So he says, Yaakov Avinu is going to Galus. And here he's going on the Beis HaMikdash. in this Makkah, which is the place where the Beis Hamikdash will be built, and this Beis Hamikdash, which will be built in this place, is going to be destroyed 2 years before its time of setting its sun setting. So therefore, Kodesh Baruch Hu was meramis to Yaakov in this shkia, which should be a siman biyadai that shalasid yecharev hamikdash teishanim koydem azman, that lasid the Beis Hamikdash will be destroyed 2 years before its time, and every hour is a remez to a year. So you have 2 hours is a remez to 2 years. And then he refers and he says, he takes from the stones of the place and puts it around his head. And the Medrash brings us, the Medrash and the Mordechai brings it in Moed Katan, that Chasidim HaShemaisa are noiheg in the night of Tisha B'Av to put a stone under their heads. And they say there's a remez or smach from this pasuk v'yikach me'avnei hamakom, and the child, what's the kesher between that to here to Tisha B'Av? And the answer is because Yaakov was seeing the Churban and has been meramis there to the Churban, and he takes from the stones of the place to sleep on top of the stones, which are not comfortable, and this is like in order to mourn on the Churban. And then it's a remez to the Shkiyas HaChamas Teishois Koidim, which is the union of the Churban. Now we come to the holy words of Zera Shimshon, who speaks about the next pasuk. The next pasuk says that Yaakov Avinu has a dream. Vayachaloim, he dreams and he sees Vinei Sulam Mutzav Artza, there's a ladder standing upon the earth. Rosh Magiah Shamayim, on its head is reaching the heaven. V'hine Malach Elokim Oidim V'yardim Boya, and Malach Elokim are going up and down in it, and Vinei Hashem Nitzav Alav, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu stands over him and appears to him. So Rabbi Yisai, there's a Moedik Medrash. The Medrash says in Bereshis Rabbah Samaches Yud Beis. The Medrash is a lot of arichos, but we're going to bring only one part of the Medrash, and the Medrash brings that this is a remez to Sinai. V'hinei Sulam is a remez to Sinai. Actually, Sulam is the gematria of the word Sinai. Sulam without a vav. Mutzav Artza. And what had happened when they were by Har Sinai, Klal Yisrael? They were standing Artza Vayisyatzvu Bestachti Sohar. They were standing underneath that mountain. Next to the bottom of the mountain is Artza, whatever you're going to say, or it could be miramis to the Kafaleim Hakegigis that Vayisyatzvu Bestachti Sohar. Whatever it was Mutzav Artza. Roshei Magiah Shamayma is the remez to what it says, the Har Boyer Ba'esh, the mountain was burning in fire, Ad Lev Shamayim, to the heart of heaven. And of course, V'nei Hashem Nitzav Olav HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself on Har Sinai. So the question, of course, is, and that's what the Zera Shimshon is bothered by in Ois Daled, why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu showing Yaakov Avinu in this place, in this time, this beautiful chizayon, to this beautiful sight that he shows him the union of the Har Sinai, Ma'amad Har Sinai. And he says a very beautiful answer, and the answer is based on the Gemara in Nedarim, Daf, Pei Aleph, Amud Aleph. The Gemara tells us that there's a pasuk in Yirmiyah which asks a question. Al ma of the Oretz, how did Klal Yisrael get to a matzav of such terrible aveirus which brought forth the Churban? And what brought the Churban? And the pasuk says, Al Ozva Mister because Klal Yisrael left my Torah, and if you look at there in the Gemara in the Ran B'Shem Rabbeinu Yoina HaChasid, he explains the following: that Klal Yisrael did not have a tremendous chashivas to Torah. In fact, that was called in a way more social Torah. It is like being disgusting with the Torah and giving it being mevaziv the Torah, but also Klal Yisrael did not have this dveikus to Torah. They didn't learn it lishma. They weren't cleaving to the Torah. Therefore, they didn't have the light that will be able to dispel their darkness of the Yetzer Hara, and therefore they fell into all the different chatoim. And through that, there ended up being a churban, also because of the chatoim, and also because of a terrible bizoyin HaTorah, which it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mevater on more social Torah, on the disgusting of the Torah, of being disgusted with the Torah. And here we have a very beautiful remez now. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing to Yaakov Avinu when he's in Makom HaMikdash, which is a remez to the Churban Beis HaMikdash, where the sun set 2 years earlier. And Yaakov Avinu is going to Galus. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu showing Yaakov Avinu? He says, if you want to know how you'll be able to to make sure that there will never be this galus. The only Vayeitzei is you have to get your children to be davuk b'Torah, be davuk b'amelos b'Torah. It should not be ozvam b'Torah. There should be no moasa shel Torah. There should be kvoda shel Torah, and only then will it be able to be in a matzav that they'll be able to remain in Eretz Yisrael with the Beis Hamikdash. And that's what Hashem was showing him, the inyan of Maimon HaSinai. When the person is Amol B'Torah, he relives Maimon HaSinai. He not only relives, the Maimon HaSinai becomes alive again by him, like it says in Nefesh HaChaim, B'Shem Chazal, and Sifrei Kabbalah, and the Zohar Kodesh, that it's Mamish Maimon HaSinai, when the person is Zoicha to learn like it should be, and then he has a tremendous light, and then he has tremendous Kvoda Shel Torah, and then there will be no Chorban. So that's what the Rem is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was showing it. And the Inyan of Maimon HaSinai, then will be V'hine Hashem Nitzav Olav. I'll be able to be revealed over there in the Beis Hamikdash, and everything will be great. Rabbi said we can be moisef a big Isafa, that it wasn't just that through that there will be no Chorban, but it's also a rem as to how Klal Yisrael will exist in the Galus. They only can exist by being doubled to the aura of Torah and then not falling into darkness, both physical and spiritual. But it's also a beautiful remez of how we're going to get out of the Galus. And that is based on what it says in the Pasuk in Yirmiyah. The Pasuk in Yirmiyah tells us that the Saimais, all the fasts of the Churban, will all turn to a Sasan ul Simcha when we will have the Geula Ashlema. And how is that going to happen? Through Vel Emes Ohevu. It says also something else, but we're talking about this piece. Vel Emes Ohevu, you will love the truth. And Emes is a remez to Torah, because Ein Emes El Torah Shenema Emes Kinei Val Timkor. Chazal say all over, and Torah is the revelation of truth in the world. And if you love the Torah, you'll cleave to the Torah, you'll become double to Torah, you'll honor the Torah, so then you'll be able to come to a massive where you're metashkein what brought to the Churban, and therefore you'll be able to be Zoiche to have the Geula. And this is Merum is right over here. V'hine Sulam Mutzavartzov Roishe Magia Shemaima, that Klal Yisrael should get to a massive where they are double to Maimon HaSinai through Amelos B'Torah, and in Chazik in Amelos B'Torah. And through that, it's going to be V'hine Hashem Nitzav Olav, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be able to reveal himself Le'asid Lavoi. And it's also Merumas to the Inyan of V'yatzu B'tachti Sahar, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu had shown that if you don't accept the Torah, you're going to die over here. Shom Teik Vuraschem, because Kaf Alei Ma Kegigis. And what is Hashem showing them? That that's the only life you have, and therefore if you understand that you cleave to the Torah. So if you understand the Mutzav Artzon, you double to Torah, you double to Amelos B'Torah, so then you'll be Zeiche to the very beautiful and Gishmake Geula. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Miramis Yaakov Avinu. Also, how not to get the Galus, how to survive the Galus, and how to get out of Galus. And Rabbi Say was finished with the words of Zera Shimshon Eis Aleph, that there he says that another pshat in this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mechabe, that he extinguished the light of the sun, and he spoke with Yaakov Avinu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was being meramis to Yaakov Avinu. You're going out to Galus. There's going to be a very shver Galus Edom. Esav is counting with the light by the sun, like all Umas Olam count lefi the Chama. You count lefi the Levana, lefi the moon. But there'll be a time when Kiba Oirei Shel Chama, Kadosh Baruch Hu will be mechabe the or of the Chama. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to extinguish the light in the Atzlacha of Esav, and then when it will be that, then Kadosh Baruch Hu will be V'hine Hashem Nitzav Olav. Kadosh Baruch Hu will reveal himself over Yaakov Avinu, and then there will be the true light to the world. So Kadosh Baruch Hu should help. We should be Zoiche to be Mischazik B'Amelos B'Torah, which is also the Inyan of Chanukah, which is coming up, which is the Inyan of the Or of Teresh Baal Peh, like it's we can be very much about. And if we have this great chizuk in Amelos B'Torah, so we be Zoiche to V'hine Hashem Nitzav Olav, the Rebbeinu Shem should reveal himself with the binyan of Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, and we end the Shver Galus, the Yaakov Avinu was Ramis to be Zoiche to the Gula Shlema, B'nheira B'yameinu, Amen, Kein Yehi Ratzayin. Good Shabbos to everyone.